demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. That keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. That keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had
off?
Yeah.
It'll probably only be.
Because I took it?
Yeah. Well, it's because it went over the sensor, so it's really finicky.
So it's not my fault.
Steve. No, it's all good.
Most of our tournaments have been selling out. Just this one, I know a lot of it seems to be.
I had one beer, that's my limit, so
Maybe just because
now
summer
it's
is
just
here
Diet
and it's
Pepsi the rest of the
$1,100
night.
is kind of expensive. You can go on the phone. Yeah, you can call over your phone, pay your admin fee, or you can just show up tomorrow. Better off just to show up because we're going to be busy taking registration there. Cool.
You pay by credit?
You can pay credit card, cash, debit, chips, whatever.
No,
But you take, like you were saying,
Oh, just credit card. Yeah.
Andrew, like you were saying earlier, you sit there, you sit around, you get them guys that always walk around with a shit ton of cash, and you got unlimited refunds.
Yeah, so I always tell people if you're gonna go for the 1100s and only have one bullet, you should probably wait for the 550s and bring like 2 chances.
That's 3,000?
The 1100, the 1100 generally is similar guys that
Well,
have
good
all
for
the
you.
money that buy in so many, they'll get you eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, you could get
Congratulations.
lucky on your one buy-in and get a bunch of them bluffing into your stuff, but eventually when there's 3 or 4 on your table, someone's gonna get you in the hand where you get sucked out on. Happens all the time. If you're not willing to at least be in for 2, I wouldn't go. That's how I never played the 1100s because I didn't want to be in for 2. Yeah, they're gonna bring the 1100 and play the one where you have at least 2 chances. You might not need it, right? You might just need the one, but it's better to have it in your pocket in case. Yeah, exactly.
No, it's 250. The big one? Oh, day one. There's a day one, day two. I would go.
It would have been a good hand, wouldn't it?
An AM session and a PM.
I don't think he had ace 10.
I know
You didn't raise.
you're gonna want to hang out with your dad. Like how often?
9,
do you have
10
an
maybe.
opportunity to say that big of a thing?
King Jack,
I've already told
King
him.
Queen,
Play both of them?
Jack Queen.
If he somehow don't make
Those
it.
Yeah, I don't know how long it'll be. It's pretty much
It's
double the amount of footage, so
It's alright, it doesn't matter.
we'll see. I'll do my best.
It makes no difference, I folded, so is what it is.
That's 25? Or, yeah, right on that one.
$400. So, oh no, it is 100K. 100K guaranteed. 30-minute levels on day one. 40 on day two. And you start with 30K in chips. Just the Andrew. You have one more in. It is a freeze out.
But you play 2 sessions.
I'll play 2 sets. Well, yeah. But if I make it in the first session, it's the second. You don't say.
Okay, auction standard first.
Well, they allow it. I go for it better.
You're not going there that type of day.
Oh. Apparently my commentary mic hasn't been working for the last little bit. Glad we figured that out early.
Probably not. I think day two you're on there.
It's like Andrew ends up hitting a pair of 6s here. Tony's going for his gut shot, but he had 2 overs. Andrew's playing a little bit slow. There's 6.5K in the middle. Tony checks. Andrew's going to show the winner here with the pair of 6s. He's going to win that pot.
I said fun pot. We're on camera. We're check.
Boring.
Yeah, that was boring. I guess
See,
it
Calvin,
should have
21% of the chips at the table. 127K. Every player started with 60K chips. This is a freeze out tournament.
Comes bad and the river comes bad. I'm just
See,
like,
John's in the chat. Good day, buddy. It's nice to see you as well. Glad you could be here tonight.
So level 7.
Actions to Alex. King 3 folds under the gun.
Average chips.
It's getting folded around to Tony. 8-7 offsuit. Limps in for 1,000. Blinds are 500, 1,000. Next level will be 500, 1,000 with a big blind ante. Oh,
43.
see, looks like Kevin. I don't know if Kevin just acted at a turn here. I didn't see Kelvin call. Looks like he did though. Whatever, we'll go with the graphics. I'm not paying attention. Ooh, Jimmy's got the ace king suited.
So like, it's on Kevin, and you say, you just click the thing, raise 4,300.
Call.
Bet 43. Call.
Oh, so
Calls.
Okay.
he doesn't have to type anything in, it's just,
Just calls Kevin's bet. Tony comes along as, I think Calvin? No, Calvin folded. Something's going on with the graphics here. I'm getting a little confused. Looks and sounds great. Thanks, John.
Just so that all the people out there in the land watching can give you a hard time.
Jimmy checks.
I check.
He's got 2 overs with a gut shot straight. Backdoor diamonds. There's the diamond. It's a great card for Jimmy. Really adds to his outs. Any diamond now or a 10 will give him a straight. An ace or a king will give him a better hand as well. Looks like Tony's pair of 8s is the best hand, although he's still 50% to win this pot with 3 players. There's the 10. That's going to give Jimmy the nuts. He's going to fire out a 10K bet. Try to get some value from these players. Tony's really the only person who has anything. I mean, Kevin's got bottom pair.
Yeah, man, so when I played, there were 900 people. I said if we get $200 from each party,
Everybody folds. Jimmy's not going to get much value out of that.
and when I played with 900 people,
Although he wins the pot, 24.9K. It's going to jump Jimmy to 3rd place with 67.5K in chips.
but I don't know where it gets off that pair.
See, all the stacks are pretty even, pretty much right around the starting stack. Right around just over 50K for most of them.
Pay 4K to bring Charlie, but
$1,000 on my
I don't have to
account.
worry about anything.
And then when you do it, you can go and register for any tournament you want.
To be honest, I love eating food, and I love drinking pop.
And if you don't use all the money, you can
Denise limps in. Calvin ace-6 suited. Makes it 25K.
because you see those lines, they wrap through like the whole
It folds around to Jimmy on the button, who makes the call with the king-jack offsuit. Everybody's coming in. Sean calls with the queen-jack suited. Calvin's got him dominated with diamonds. Alex in the big blind makes the call. 5-ways. 5-way going to this flop here. Woo. Ooh, there's a bit of an action flop. Jimmy's hit top 2. Sean hit a mid pair with the jacks, but he's got the backdoor diamond draw. Alex hit a pair of 8s. Fortunately, Denise has nothing but ace high, as does Kelvin. Jimmy makes it 10K. Everybody folds. Jimmy's just going to take down that pot.
Just that easy, isn't it?
Sometimes.
Easy game. Easy game when you hit top 2. Jimmy, that moved Jimmy now to 2nd place. So as we can see, with people's chip stacks, won't take long for them to jump up the ranks. We'll probably see it all over the place for this tournament. Gets folded around to Tony, who wakes up with ace-queen offsuit. Makes it 28K. Denise, pocket 10s right behind Tony. Flat calls. Actions to the blinds. Ab with the 7-5 offsuit. He calls. Ab's going to defend that big blind. Ooh. Wow, what a crazy flop. Tony has hit top 2. Denise has hit a set. There's two clubs down on the board. A little bit scary, but nobody has any clubs. Tony bets 4,000. Denise instantly shoves all in. 21K, the shortest stack at the table. Tony quickly calls. It's a great spot for Denise to double up. I bet you Tony wasn't expecting her to have that. No ace or queen. Denise doubles up. That puts Tony now at the shortest stack at the table. Denise has moved to the middle of the pack. 51.3K.
You guys are close though.
It is money.
First time I whipped this thing.
Gonna move into the next hand. That's how we do it here. There's no delay. We move, as soon as the hand's done, we move right into the next one.
That is 26.
Denise limps in with ace-10 suited.
I can't make it 18 anymore.
Calvin
18 anymore.
makes it 2.6.
Can't do it anymore.
Alex calls with the ace-2 suited on the button.
Yeah, right? Just for the sake.
Andrew calls in the big blinds. And Denise calls as well, a four-way. What do the players have here? I think ace high is really that's still the best hand. Denise, ace 10,
Andrew, you check.
still the highest percentage.
That is 25.
People that we lose.
Calvin, continuation bets, 2.5K.
First time playing.
Alex floats with the ace-2 suited. Denise has got a gut shot. A queen would be disastrous for Calvin, giving him the straight, but giving Denise the higher straight.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. You're just trying to share.
Going to a turn. Pair of twos. Gives Alex bottom pair. And believe it or not, it is the best hand.
25.
It's going to get checked around. Alex fires out a 2.5K. Calvin calls. 23.4K in this spot. Jack doesn't do anything. Is Alex going to go for a bluff here? Although it is the best hand, so it's not really a bluff. Alex just shoves. Shoving with the best hand. He probably doesn't think it. He's trying to represent something strong. If you guys are in the chat, make sure to like the video, as it does help us promote this a little bit more. YouTube will help push it out. Helps the channel grow. Would be much appreciated from my end.
That is 26.
Denise limps in. We have a very familiar scenario. Calvin making it 2.6K. He's got ace queen suited this time around. Let's get folded around to Sean. Sean folds. Action is to Ab on the button. Who's got ace queen offsuit. Dave folding out of turn.
Good, punish him.
78.
Ab making it
So,
7.8K.
Yeah.
Denise folds. Calvin calls. Calvin's got a very small percentage advantage over Ab with the diamonds. And he hits it. He hits a diamond draw on the flop. Both players have nothing of ace high. Calvin's got the higher percentage because any diamond now will give him the flush.
that will criticize your dealing.
See, living off percentage is in the chat.
It's like,
I
whatever.
criticize myself.
Welcome. Glad you could be here.
4,000.
It's hard with those cards though.
Ab firing out a 4K bet.
I mean, they slide.
Calvin,
they slide well, but
Three betting
they just-
looks like 21.
Like make a nice
21,000 is the
That's just going to get Ab away. It's going to take. Calvin's going to take down that pot. Adding to his chip stack now, 130K for Calvin. The chip leader at this table.
like in a fresh deck like this.
It's just this hand.
It's getting folded around to Kevin. He folds.
There's no.
26 is the bet.
Alex gets ace jack suited
No. Oh, no.
in the hijack. 2.5K. Tony's thinking about playing. He's on the big blind. He calls. We can hear that sound in the background. Blinds will be going up next hand.
Same, but with an ante. They're up-ish.
Make sure that table.
Pretty dry board for both these players. Neither of them has hit anything. Alex has position though. Fires out 1,000. He's gonna win that pot. So now blinds will be 500, 1,000 with a 1,000 big blind ante. The antes are now in play.
Not the wild.
It's gonna add to those pots. Gonna want to fight for those ones now.
Stick around and then have
The bird flew up on top of the kitchen cabinet, and if she stays up there too long,
Jimmy folds the ace-8 offsuit.
she'll, like, damage the cabinet. So she was like trying to smatter with a towel to get her down, to get her out of the way. And then she thought it was smart to stick her hand up there.
After
Ooh, Ab.
the towel.
Min bets to 2K with pocket kings. Doesn't want to scare away these blinds. Dave quickly calls with the ace-5 offsuit on the button. Denise calls with 9-7 off. Ab just doesn't really want to see an ace on this flop. Denise hits top pair. 2 clubs down on the board. Ab has the king of clubs. Dave has the ace of clubs. He also has a gut shot. Ab continuation bets for 2.5K. Dave calls on the button. Denise is going to call with her top pair. Neither of these players are going anywhere. 15K in this pot already. Ooh, now Dave hits a pair of 5s. Also has the nut flush draw. Ab might be thinking that his king of clubs would be good here if a 4th club comes down. He's going to play it a little bit slow. Ab might be thinking, that is a pretty scary card. Complete some straight draws. He's not going anywhere, though, for that 6K bet. He's got to see a river. River comes down to 6. Any person who has a 4 now has a straight. Ab checks it over to Dave. Dave firing out 20K. And Ab's going to lay down the kings. What a great bet by Dave.
Almost had a straight flush.
Making Ab fold the best hand.
Might have been one of those spots where Alex.
Sure.
Dave in 4th place in chips.
I'll do it.
69.1K.
See it on YouTube.
Like, I have to kind of somewhat be careful, but so actually that's Kevin first.
Kevin with the ace-4 offsuit. Under the gun. Limps in. Jimmy folds the ace-6 suited. Gets folded around to Andrew with the king-jack. Makes it 3.5K. Calvin folds the big blind. Kevin's going to continue.
You didn't limp for no reason.
Wow, look at all that paint on the board. Andrew hits mid-pair with an open-ended. Kevin's just hit a gut shot, and he needs a king. He's going to let it go, though, from Andrew's continuation bet. Jimmy's first act now. He's gonna get folded around. Looks like to Dave. Jack 8 suited. Limps in for 1,000. Tony shoves behind for 20K. Queen 10 suited. Dave's just gonna give it away. Tony picks up a little bit of chips. Lorraine. Hi, gang, from Ontario. Looking good. I hope you're enjoying your trip.
We go for a hike, come back, and we win.
Because our regular season record is good.
Glad everybody could be here tonight. I say it all the time. I really appreciate you guys. We got some merch and stuff. Merch pre-orders are coming through.
You guys don't have any
Going to be
say?
putting that order in very soon.
You don't have any say? He just moves you up?
Some hoodies, some hats, and t-shirts.
And like you're going against
Help supporting the stream.
when we
You
play
can check that out on Facebook. There's a post on Facebook to get in contact.
going to a team like oh like they're
You guys are interested in that.
you're gonna go there and you're just
It's like Ab makes it 2K.
rather go there.
Dave 3 bets to 4K. Ab's got the best hand with the ace queen. He's got Dave crushed. Although neither player of these hits this flop, Dave's got position over Ab. We'll see if he continuation bets. He does not. He checks. King's a pretty interesting card. It's well within both players' ranges. Fires out 6,000. He may just win it here. He does. Ab lets the ace queen go. Dave position wins that pot.
When your reputation precedes you, what are you gonna do? You're still around.
Lorraine in the chat saying she's having fun. She's missing us. That's all right. You'll be back soon. We'll see you at the
That
table.
means your players can be anywhere
You'll have to tell us
from
all about your trip.
B, C, down to E.
Andrew,
And he
King 10 suited,
above.
2.5K. Dave quickly calls behind. With the ace 4 of clubs, he's got Andrew crushed in the suits. Jimmy calls, as does Sean, in the big blind, ace 2 suited. See if this flop is going to change anything. Andrew hits top pair.
Probably have to send
Jimmy's hit a gut shot. Andrew's going to continuation bet.
2 more? Oh, just the same one.
4.5K bet. Dave calls with bottom pair. Nine's a bit of a scary card. It completes the diamond draw, also completes some straights. Andrew plays it a little bit slow, checks it over to Dave. Dave checks behind. Ooh, that 7 makes it even worse. Now any player who has a jack or a 6 has a straight. Dave's gonna go for a bluff here. Fires out 10K.
Edge on the flop. Yeah, edge on the flop.
Kevin, you're moving to
10.
3 on the green table.
Andrew, let's go of the top pair.
You made the cut.
Dave ends up picking up that 20K pot.
I would have missed that big blind. I
You
wouldn't
didn't
have
have
missed
the flush, you had the straight.
Or Andrew, he had nothing. That's also a possibility. Thinks his 10 was the losing hand, but it was not, as we can see with these graphics. Gotta love this table.
No, I gotta send it.
Getting to look at everybody's decision. Getting folded around to Tony. Looks like Kevin has moved to the other table. The other table had elimination, had to even out the numbers. Jimmy on the button, ace 9 suited.
Were you?
Again, has Denise dominated in the suits.
That's
She's got the 6-5 suited.
my prerogative.
Sean
knowing
folds the
that that's
queen
what you
jack
guys are
off.
gonna do.
Alex
Sorry.
has 10-8 suited in the big blind.
Mind my cards.
He's going to continue, as is Denise.
The flop, that's the problem.
Can
My
be any
cards
player's
can be
spot.
as good as they want to be, but that flop, man.
Cards are having a hard time sticking. We're going to have to change the way we put out the flop here soon. Denise checks it over to Jimmy. Jimmy continuation bets. Fires out 4,000. Alex calls with the gut shot. Backdoor club draw. He does have a pretty disguised straight if a 9 comes down. Six is not really a great card for Alex at all. Gets check, check. Alex now with the best hand with the pair of 8s.
7,000 for that.
Going for a value bet. 7,000. Everybody folds. Alex has moved himself to 4th place in chips. 70K.
Yeah, I bought some fanning powder for these cards. Like a what?
Gonna move into the next hand. Andrew folds under the gun.
I mean, it comes off. It's like I'm gonna have to take probably a day. Just scrape down.
Dave makes a min bet 2K with pocket 5s. Tony quickly calls behind with the queen jack offsuit.
I noticed
Action is to Denise now. 7-6 suited.
I saw the card and had black on it. It's gonna be the ace.
It's gonna get folded around to Sean on the button. Sean has ace king. Goes for the 3-bet. 3 bets to 6K. Alex has ace queen in the small blind. What a pot is building up here. Alex calls. Dave calls as well. Tony does. All that does is just builds a massive pot. 26K in the middle already. Three diamonds come down on the board. Sean has the king of diamonds. He's the only player with a diamond in their hand. It's going to get checked over to Sean. Sean's going to play it a little bit slow and a little bit cautious. And there's his diamond. King of diamonds has the check mark. See if Sean's going to get any value here. Anyone's going to try to take a stab at it and try to bluff.
That was a check, right?
Bluffing multi-way is a very dangerous thing to do, but it is possible.
That is 6,000.
Sean firing out a 6K bet for value. Doesn't look like he's going to get anybody to stick around, though.
Usually with 0 bounties. I don't know how I can do that, but.
That was an ace.
Question is, what is the number?
Alex fishing for some information from Sean. Sean just shows him the ace. Doesn't show him the
I
diamond.
didn't want to double check my card. Yeah, we're exactly. 100% my fault with ace queen. I'll be honest, if I was diamond, I think I had fucking ace diamond.
Denise limps in. The jack 9 suited.
I gave you the one hand warning.
Wow.
Calvin's got pocket 6s, makes it 2.6K. It's folded around to Andrew on the big blind.
Easy, remember the last time.
It's king 3 suited.
Re-raise to...
He's going to 3-bet. 8.5K. Gonna put Denise in a weird spot. She's gonna let go of her hand. Calvin is gonna love to get into a pot with Andrew. Pretty dry board again. Neither player really hits anything. It's actually not a bad flop for Calvin, considering there's only one overcard out on the board. There is a flush draw. He's gonna play it a little bit slow. Gonna check it behind, play it a little bit cautious. That ace is actually a great card for Andrew. Andrew's probably gonna try to take a stab at it. It's a great card for him to try to bet. Calvin acknowledges the ace on the turn and folds his cards, folds the best hand. Andrew's gonna win that pot.
Alright, blinds are up.
Really taking advantage of the cards that are gonna be helping you in those positions.
Even if I call, the river bet's gonna be
Sorry, I got my phone
That's why I was like, I knew I had you on the flop.
beeping
Like
off.
anything but like an ace king, ace queen here. I think that's
I need
yeah.
14 for a big blind ante as well.
That happens.
When are you gonna
I need 14 more for a big blind ante.
So pretty much the only card I would have got away with is the ace or the king, and obviously then I cash it out.
Yeah.
And the rest you
Ooh, Calvin's got ace king offsuit.
What's the
Yeah.
Raises to
I
3.4K.
need 400 more
how many cards? Is there 2 card garage?
just for a big blind ante. So.
2-card garage. 2-card garage.
Action gets folded around to Sean. He's got queen 7 off.
With the garage? I
So
think
you got a single card garage.
bro. I want to. Let me see my house. I'll see because so what.
Dave with the 7-6 suited.
Is to do
It's not going anywhere.
loft on top. So
He calls.
I want a 3-card rush, but basically this one's a fake one. This is gonna be my slot, my pair.
Ooh, that's a great flop for Dave. Hits a gut shot with the heart draw.
Maybe that's gonna be a fake.
Calvin
It'd be sweet
hasn't
to
hit
get a
anything.
shower, and you can look out, and that's actually a garage door, a fake garage door. And then at the top, what I wanna do is
Dave still 40% to win this pot. Fires out 7,000. Calvin quickly calls.
maybe there's another third bedroom up there. Maybe it's an Airbnb in like 15 years.
The 8 comes down. Dave completely misses. Calvin's ace high is the best hand. See if Dave's going to try to take a stab at it. He doesn't. He checks behind. Has given up on this pot. Calvin's going for a bluff.
A lot.
Calvin's going to win that pot. He was going to win it regardless, even if he checked behind. But of course, we see Calvin adding to his chip stack once again.
So that means her father might have underneath it, right? No. So I definitely need to do it up. Like that's.
Any non-paint, I was like, I'm calling everything he bets right now.
Jimmy's got ace-5 off. He folds.
I just not believe me. I just have aces.
Actions to Ab. Ab folds.
Every hand.
Andrew on the button with king-2 off.
He's the table.
He's going to try to steal these blinds.
Table captain.
See,
That's 35.
like my buddy, when he lived up covered out his house.
3.5K from Andrew.
Playing somewhat decent cards.
He has money coming in.
That's the worst part.
Wait. King 3.
Tony's going to defend his big blind.
I was playing position.
Alright.
Sometimes you gotta do that.
Alright,
Card.
fine.
Yeah.
Like,
He was playing the position. He
those
didn't
weren't really premium cards, especially when he didn't hit anything and he bluffed.
There's my
But you know, it's okay.
Paired board.
You're allowed to bluff, I suppose.
Tony is going to shove.
Good luck.
Andrew folds. It's a great flop for Tony to shove on. Going to try to steal those blinds because he needs it. It's at the bottom of the chip stack here, 22.1K.
premium.
Any big hand?
Oh, I need another card.
So he's not reading yet.
I vote
Going to get
Tony
folded
again.
around.
That's just me.
It looks like to Andrew yet again. He's going to fold. He's got 7-2. Dave on the button. Tries to make it 25K. Blinds are already up. 714K. With a 14K big blind ante. Or, sorry, 1.4K. My mistake.
No, this is 21.
14 and 14 is 28.
Yeah.
Seven. Yeah, well.
It's only if someone re-raises that open has to be.
Oh, is it my turn?
Then you can go.
Min bets it over to Denise in the big blind.
I already got 28.
Yeah.
Shouldn't that count for something? Alright. Fine.
Denise is going to defend.
Twist my arm.
It's a pretty wet board for both players, really. Nine has a straight draw out there. He's got spades.
Yeah. Check.
Denise hits mid pair. Denise checks. Dave reaching for chips. Denise instant folds.
It was 35.
Tony in the chat. The new felt looks nice. Thank you, Tony.
This blind level and it's been 9 minutes.
They did a great job.
Not any kind of rushing deal.
Found another table builder out in Vancouver on the other side of the country.
No doubt. No.
We've also been betting a lot. There's been a lot of bets.
No.
They've had a few all-ins, so there's
They're
probably
trying
been
to
some
figure out
tough
how many times they've dealt since we came back from break. That's not the
Action is getting.
Don't hurt yourself.
Sorry, I might have missed that. Sean ended up making it 3.1K. Calvin is going to defend the biggest stack at the table on his big blind. It's not going anywhere. That 6-2 offsuit is a premium hand.
Just as sloppy as this flop. Jack.
Sean hits top pair. Calvin checks it over to him. Is he going to continuation bet here? He does.
I figured mine would cost like 300.
Fires out 31. Calvin quickly folds. Sean's going to take down that pot.
Thank you. Buttons are right.
And you're in such a power.
Yes, Tony, the new felt looks great. I'm glad the black, I feel it just kind of brings out all the colors of the chips on the table. It's not in your face, and it's just perfect. It's nice and clean. The cards are having a hard time kind of sliding on it when putting out the flop. The cards don't really stick to that part, but it's a small problem. We'll get that figured out eventually. I don't have any problems with co-pegs or anything, but I think the RFID cards are, since they're thicker, they stick to each other a little more. So you'll kind of notice when we put out the flops and stuff that they're not professional as the people on Reddit like to slam me for. Ooh. What a wet board. Neither of these players are going after it. It looks like it's just the blinds. Calvin and Jimmy. Calvin hits a pair of queens on the river.
I know.
Not a very exciting pot, but definitely a very dynamic board.
10K, 15K, 'cause that's hard to do, right? And yeah, so I bought it. 2 years in. I come out, it's winter time. I come in my house. I see a giant hole in my front of my property. I'm like, what is going on there?
Ugh, I had to go put the bird away. She was squawking at me. I didn't want you guys to deal with that.
Yeah, my water's not running.
Eventually, I'll get a better looking commentary booth, and maybe I'll actually have the bird and stuff in a little commentary booth while we're commentating the action for you guys. We'll try to improve the stream as much as we can.
Really? So 100%, they came in. She was so
Small little upgrades.
December 23rd, dug a hole.
I'm gonna turn off my phone as well. That's getting lots of messages. And
To be honest, I think that was the reason why they dug a hole in my.
Sorry?
Ab,
Does that mean
Queen-
that better cards?
king queen suited of diamonds.
22,500.
Shoves all in. Short stack at the table.
Not for me. Oh, fuck, I'm basically. I looked at me, I was like,
What was the card? There's no way you're folding an ace.
like, are you sure?
Gonna get folded around to the big stack. Calvin, see if he's gonna make the call. He's got ace 7 off.
Calvin?
He's got the chips to make the call here. He's got 129K behind.
Who's that?
Does he want to risk it?
I know.
Ab shoving under the gun.
Yes, 26.
I don't think him and
right?
Calvin have really gotten into many pots at this table. Calvin's gonna give him the respect, and he folds.
28.
I was doing 36.
Oh, 30.
Ooh, Alex is now has Jack 10 suited. Ab's got him crushed in the suits.
How many is it?
22,500.
25, so.
Lorraine, the stream is looking good from here. I'm glad to hear it. Thank you very much for letting me know, because it's hard for me to tell on my end.
Did you confirm
I
the
was
ace?
like, you have a low pocket
Did you
pair.
confirm the ace of clubs?
No,
Did
I
you
just-
confirm it though?
Alex is gonna fold.
Oh, Jack 10? Oh yeah, I call it. Sure.
What's that? Dominated the suits?
It's so easy.
Ab giving him a little bit of information.
I don't have many of them.
Alex was wondering if it was a good fold. It was.
I'm just saying that now. I'm saying that now. It's still a lot harder.
28.
Dave makes a rolling bet of a min bet.
Yeah. I keep telling
It
you
has
not
to be
splash
nice and
spot,
neat,
but-
or else you have to take all your chips back. Sorry.
Is that a house rule? I never heard of
Getting
it.
folded around. Jimmy
We're
folds the
making it up.
10-8 suited. Sean's got pocket kings now on the button.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember that.
This looks like an inciting pot. He's gonna 3-bet.
6,500.
6,500 is the bet.
Not on you.
Dave acting way out of turn. I don't know if that's an angle or not, or maybe just a mistake. That's gonna put Alex in a weird spot, and he folds the ace queen.
That wasn't my camera.
Wow, what a crazy fold from Alex in the small blind.
Yeah, see, this way here I get to retire.
Wonder if that's Dave's out of turn call actually influenced that in any way. Paired board. Sean just has the best hand here. Dave lets it go. Sean doesn't look too impressed with that. Even though he takes down the pot. Look at our VPIPs here. Calvin's played the most hands, 41%. Denise, 37%. Ab hasn't played the least at 20% for a VPIP. Tony decides now is the time. Pocket fours, shoves all in. 21.4K. Denise has got pocket sevens right behind. She's also somewhat short at the table. And Calvin just threw his cards in the middle.
I did.
Denise folds the pocket sevens. What a fold from Denise. Tony is going to be glad.
Play the player.
You're in a race.
Tony asks, you're dealing, right? Was this game played a previous day? This game was actually a couple weeks ago. We did I filmed about 2 hours. Usually I just film the final table. I ended up doing double the amount of footage. So this was filmed a couple weeks ago because it took me longer to kind of go through it. But yes, I am dealing. I'm also running the tablet and just kind of running the system, I guess. Kind of see me entering everybody's action in the tablet at the table.
I know. I'm gonna have to make it something.
A lot of people ask, can you see the players' cards on that tablet? And the answer is no, I cannot. It wouldn't be at the table.
Well, it was 16, 26, 36. So 46.
Calvin making it, looks like 3.6K with ace-10 off. Alex wakes up with ace-king on the button, or sorry, on the cutoff. Ace-king suited. He's going to 3-bet Calvin.
Yeah, I gotta at least see
3-bets to 10K. Calvin calls.
That's an interesting flop.
Neither player hits anything.
They lost another player.
Calvin continuation bets.
We haven't
to
lost one
10K.
yet except to that table.
Nobody wants to be off.
Denise just announced that the
No.
table behind her just lost a player.
I would definitely go for a change of scenery.
You don't want to embarrass yourself.
Alex is going to take down that pot with that continuation bet. He's probably glad with that. That flop wasn't really very nice for his ace-king.
Did somebody get eliminated?
Tony asks in the chat, with 2 tables, how long does the tourney run? Usually we start 7 p.m. Usually it's done no later than 1 in the morning. The blinds are somewhat quick. Usually if I start earlier in the day, I'll do like a longer tournament, depending on buy-ins and stuff like that. So, we try to give the players as much play as possible. It's just a home game, so it's just a friendly game.
I'm okay with losing Jimmy.
Probably the coolest home game around because you don't see any home games running an RFID table with filming setups.
Oh, like Survivor.
Vote the person out.
Give me the parchment paper.
It's like Andrew on the button.
Listen, you're
It's at
We're in
4.6K.
the middle of a hand.
Tony's gonna fold.
If it's not me, it's got to be someone else. Same idea.
But yeah, the tournaments usually last. It's probably what,
Where do
I don't
you
know,
want
4 to 6 hour tournament, I guess.
Same sensor you're using. I'm gonna actually
one?
I'm gonna move you over next time. So
You gonna move me to here?
We usually do about like 20-minute blinds. You start off with 60K chips. Blinds usually start off at like 1 and 2.
all in 22.5.
Solidified that I'm over.
Look at this. Ab has woke up with a hand. Ace Queen offsuit. Shoves all in on the hijack. Tony's got the Queen Jack off. Also short at the table.
Yes.
Oh, you live it over as well? We're good heads up in.
I was a little worried about the audio with having 2 tables down there, but the audio seems to be all right. It's not overpowering. Tony's going to make the correct fold. Denise has got the same hand as Tony in the big blind. She's also short stack.
I fold with the same hand.
Would have been a great spot for Ab to get his money in there against those players.
The exact same hand.
With
Well,
hoping that they
that
called,
makes me
but
feel better.
fortunately
There
they
goes two of
did. They
my
did
outs.
not. See, Ab, Denise, and Tony are the 3 shortest stacks at the table.
To the foam, and just so I get the wrinkles out.
Yep.
And I put too much in one area.
Can you not remove it?
It's too hard.
Ab with the Jack 9 suited.
20,000 over here. No wonder people are going all in.
Makes it 4K. Blinds are 1,000, 2,000 with a 2,000 big blind ante.
We went 1-2-4, but okay.
It's going to get folded around to Jimmy. Who's going to defend.
Wow.
10-5 suited.
They don't know how to add. Math,
yeah, sorry, that's-
math is apparently not strong over there.
Yeah, probably Jeremy with 140.
See, we're putting out the flop a little bit different. Ab has hit top pair. Jimmy has hit mid pair, but he's also has a backdoor diamond draw. Ab has a backdoor heart draw. Ab. I like Ab's bet sizing here. 3.5K. Jimmy's gonna continue with that. Pot size now is 18K. 6 doesn't really change anything other than adding to equity to Ab's hand.
We're all playing tight over here.
Jimmy checks it over to Ab.
Oh, I got such a stack. I kept raising, they kept holding.
Wow.
Ab firing out 10K. Jimmy quickly throws away his hand. Ab is slowly starting to build up his chip stack yet again. See, look at our pre-flop raises here. Calvin's at the highest, 25%, given he is the highest stack at the table. Ab is at 20%, believe it or not, where he was pretty short
Okay.
earlier on.
There hasn't been anybody except
Have an error.
you guys are the only one.
Tony says, I host a cash game. Haven't found the sweet spot for tourneys that has a good amount of play, but doesn't drag on all night. Yes, that is, it's a pretty tough thing to kind of manage, to actually have like a good sized tournament that has a lot of play.
Okie dokie.
It's like Denise short stack, shoves all in. Everybody folds. Denise showing the ace. Yeah, for my tournaments, I do not do quick double blind tournaments. Where you just double the blinds constantly. It's not,
I will not.
you know, I don't like those.
I will
That's
not
just
succumb.
bingo at the end of the tournament and final tables. So, you know, once we have,
I'm gonna start using corners.
I am working on getting a third table down here. I'm going to be building another table.
That too. Like they're that.
So we'll probably end up starting with less chips,
Blind in with
It's all in says
$100 chips.
19.9.
but the tournaments may end up going a little bit longer as well. We may end up, but we'll have 30-player tournaments instead of 20, so that's good. Andrew bets. Tony shoves all in. Tony's in rough shape. Andrew has him crushed here with the ace-queen. Tony is going to need a jack. Still no help to Tony. Diamond doesn't help him either. He needs the jack. And there it is! Tony hits a jack on the river.
I was like, whatever you
He
do,
doubles
I'm
up.
gonna get there.
On the river.
Andrew gets sucked out on that river.
I had 5 outs on the.
Okay, never mind. It was a pretty good hit.
It was a terrible hit. You deserved better.
To Andrew first.
Tony acknowledging that he lucked out on Andrew. Andrew's not worried about it. He's moving on to the next hand. He's got pocket fours.
That is 4,600.
Point out 4.6K.
I needed that double up though. Now I don't have to go all in over here.
Denise has got ace queen. Dave ends up having pocket queens, 3 bets to 10K. This is a really weird spot for Denise. She folds and covers her eyes at the same time. She does not like that fold. Although it's a great fold looking at Dave's hand. Should only be running to an ace. Andrew's not going to get bullied around, though. Calls with the pocket fours. It's like a pair of twos on the board and just a jack. It's a great flop for Dave. Andrew checks it over to him. 15K bet. Andrew quickly throws away his fours. Can't blame him.
But Andrew raised, he re-raised. Ace queen.
Samuel Bork says, what's the buy-in?
I was pushing.
Usually we do
When he
120.
raised, I couldn't.
$120 buy-in. We like to keep the home games small. You know, we don't. This isn't the WSOP here. It's just a fun home game. Usually, first place is right around 800 to 1,000, depending on how many players and stuff we have.
Did you go to,
Yeah, Seb.
did you go to Oakley?
Sean, his pocket jacks,
We owed it.
makes it 5K.
No?
No, I didn't. My daughter came down. So I
He's just gonna win the blinds.
Bench next game 4 for you. I don't
Gonna move into quickly move into the next hand. No wasting any time. If you guys are new here, please subscribe to the channel. It would be much appreciated. We are trying to grow as much as we can. This is probably the only home game that I know about, anyway, that does any kind of live streaming like this. So it'd be very unique. It's low stakes too. You won't see any super high stakes.
Whatever you send a picture of.
This also isn't the Hustlers. You know, we don't have a team of people that are running these streams either. I am pretty much a one-man show. I'm dealing, I'm doing the editing. Now I'm commentating, doing the live streaming for you guys. So certainly a one-person setup. Look at this. 3 clubs have come down. Both players have clubs. Jimmy has the king of clubs. Dave only has the 9. We'll see if Dave is going to continue in this pot. Jimmy makes a relatively sizable bet. 11K.
I wish he was okay with doing half games.
I don't just.
I mean,
that game sucks, but
I know.
I'd rather just sit than play.
Yeah, I guess.
Samuel says, how can I join the action? Usually you just have to be a local. I don't think the game is really a game where,
I think everyone's.
people should be driving up for. I know there's quite a bit of people
Keep me out of trouble.
that live about 4 hours away. Like Halifax isn't too far from us. I know a lot of those players were somewhat interested in playing. I don't want to see them drive up here for like just a regular home game, right? Where there's no guarantee. Usually we just film the final table. This game is specifically an exception.
Do it.
But hopefully in the fall we're going to be doing multi-day tournaments. So we're going to we'll have 30 players for each session. We'll have a tournament a week, and they'll end up playing down to 10 players. 10 players will move on to the final day, which will be at the end of the month. All the money will be going towards the finals. It'll be a great tournament. Imagine if we have 30 players, even if we do $100 buy-in, that's $3,000 going to the prize pool each week. So not a bad prize pool for just a home game. $9,000. It would be that's pretty good. It's pretty good for a $100 buy-in. So that's the plan. We're gonna be I'm gonna be starting that up in the fall. I just got to build 2 more tables. The table that you see behind there is not actually my table. A friend let me borrow that, so
I have, yeah.
I'm gonna eventually have to replace that.
2 big ones, 2 little ones.
But maybe we'll make some videos. I'll show you guys what I'm gonna be doing this summer. A couple of the things I'm gonna be building, because I do all the building myself. I built this table myself. It's all DIY. All the camera setups and everything is all DIY. It's like trying to see what happened in this action, not really paying attention. Denise has just got a gut shot. Gonna fold. Andrew with a continuation bet. Gonna take down that pot. just proves to you the power of position, right? And how important position is in poker.
Louis what? Yeah. Sure.
No one's gonna know. They're gonna know.
Your bank
It's like
account.
Sean is going to get involved under the gun.
Oh, they sign enough times and you lose.
Jimmy giving him a hard time, getting little smirks from Sean.
Oh no, you got ace queen.
What kind of
again.
hand does he have? He's got,
But I'm pretty sure
ooh,
he
queen
gets
jack suited.
when more than
It's definitely a hand worth making a little bet.
you got a buzzer in your pocket.
Makes it 6.5K. It's going to get folded around to the blinds. Over to Jimmy, who was giving him some weird looks earlier on.
Best feeling.
Jimmy's got 9-3 suited.
That you have a ace high.
He's not going to let Sean bully him around. He wants to play a pot.
The whole table looks at you like, wow, what do you know? This is strange. But if you do it so much,
Jimmy defending that big blind. Can he actually hit here? He does. He hits a pair of threes. He has the best hand.
no, but try it. Someday you're gonna.
Jimmy
hit
checking
one.
it over to Sean. Sean playing a little bit
The
cautiously.
whole table's like, what a genius.
The 8 doesn't help him. Jimmy still has the best hand with bottom pair.
Well, you might have no.
Sean's going to continuation bet. 6K. Jimmy quickly throws in some chips. Sean must be suspect now. He's doesn't think he probably has the best hand. Jimmy talking to himself. It's checked over. Sean checks behind. Sean shaking his head. Jimmy calling him with the 9-3 suited in the big blind. Jimmy must be proud of himself taking away some chips from Sean. Sean is still third chip stack at this table. He's got 80K. Denise is the shortest stack at the table. 18.7K.
Put them back in order.
Do I? Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. I should probably look.
Yeah, you did.
Well, you'll have to let me know when you guys are having a dealer school, and I'll have to show up there. Show up at the casino.
You already have the fundamentals. I could teach you in 5 minutes.
Talking about shuffling cards. Andrew being a professional dealer himself, giving me some tips. I know you guys don't like the way I put out the flop. It's not something I can do it. I just can't do it with these cards on this felt. So just give me a break. I get a lot of flack for that over on Reddit anytime I post any clips or something on there. So bear with me as we try to figure out the situation. The RFID cards are a lot thicker than a pack of Copegs. The Copegs don't really have too much of a problem of spreading on the felt, but look at this. Abs got ace jack offsuit. Shoves all in, 33K. Blinds are 1.5K with a 3K big blind ante. He's gonna win the blinds.
And fair 16.
I'll have to watch the cards and Denise will do it for me every time.
Well, I have a Band-Aid on, so it's easy.
Oh,
Action's getting folded around to Denise, who puts all of her remaining chips in with ace jack, just like Ab did the previous hand. To see if she ends up getting a caller here. It's folded to Ab. What does Ab have? He's got jack 7 off. He folds. Denise wins the blinds. The short stacks are making their stand. Denise sitting at 8 big blinds. Kevin's no longer at this table. I don't know why his graphic is still showing up. Calvin's also not at the table anymore. He moved over to the other side. Tony says, keep posting to Reddit. I enjoy the content. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I truly do.
No, I'm not. I don't care.
Means a lot. Kind of shows all this work I kind of put in. It's does mean a lot with all those kind comments. So thank you. Thank you very much. Ab's got 7-5 suited in the small blind. Limps in. Andrew checking out his stack. Ab looking at him very confidently. What, you want to put me all in? Andrew decides it's not a good idea with his hand. Neither player's hit anything. Andrew's got the best hand with the 9 high. He's going to take a little stab at it.
Almost did something crazy free for him. Almost shoved him.
Andrew showing him the 9-3 off.
If you go call, I go, oh no, cameras turn off.
Somebody unplug that, will ya?
You know what? If I was on that other table though and you limped it, I'm probably shoving any cards. But here I was like, oh man, everyone's gonna make fun of me.
Everyone's like,
I'm gonna make fun
isn't
of you
that the
regardless.
guy who used to be in Vegas?
You're gonna
Like,
be
what
like,
the
why
heck is
shove
going on
9-3?
here?
It doesn't make any sense. Almost did.
Yeah, Andrew's kind of making fun of himself. You know, shoving with the 9-3 there. People wondering what the hell he's doing. I mean, we understand what he's doing, right? Just really pushing the small stacks, and who cares if you get it in? Tony, 10.5K.
All in, 60.
Dave shoves all in with the pocket eights.
I'm pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far, I think
been pretty bad.
every time.
Yep, that's the good thing about having the tablet. If somebody shoves all in, I can tell them what the effective stack is that they have behind, which is very handy. It makes all-ins, you know, very quick, right? When players are looking for chip counts, there's no dealers having to count chips to give players numbers. It's just, this is what they have. I love that part of using the tablet. It's hard for me to actually go back to playing poker without using or dealing poker without using the tablet.
Well, he didn't. Player wanted to.
It's just, it's so handy. You know, there's no questioning of, oh, did the button just move, or oh, were you just big blind? It's like, nope, the tablet says that it's you. It tracks everything so well. And if you're wondering, that tablet is what you guys are seeing for graphics and stuff that are on the.
Yeah, but if before he did that,
That's on the screen. All the overlay
It goes all in if someone says how much is it.
enters in everybody's action.
I've had that issue before in my cash games when I sit on games. People get upset that I count the chips of every bet. They're like, I can't count until I
Tony contemplating a call here,
do punch it out.
just really looking at the blinds. Decides to put it in. Said no better time than now. Got ourselves a coin flip situation, or somewhat of a coin flip. I guess it says it's a 60-40.
Kind of what you're hoping for. I mean, I just don't want to see it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Still pretty much a coin flip, really. Great flop for eights. Tony doesn't have a heart either. The eights hold up. Tony ends up getting eliminated from the tournament. Dave adds to the chip stack. He's now the biggest stack at this table. He's got 136K with that win.
What if you were the taxes are only from where you're from, right? So like because your account, say if you were so if you were
It's gonna get folded around to Andrew, who's got pocket aces on the button. Makes a min bet. Dave calls with the pocket fours. Denise, short stack at the table, folds. Great time to fold. Andrew's got the aces. Flop doesn't help Dave. He doesn't hit his four that he needs. Gonna get checked over to Andrew. Andrew's definitely gonna be firing out a continuation bet here.
Bet
8,000 bet. Dave folds. Andrew shows the aces.
First time we've seen those tonight.
Andrew's showing his hands. No need to show it. They could have waited for the stream. They would see the hand later if they were that interested. Andrew trying to get some respect at the table.
Cost you only 6,000.
Trying to get his later bluffs. He's planting the seed to get his later bluffs to work as the blinds
You know
get
what?
bigger.
I might change my mind. Can I see it? And I'll let you know.
He's playing the mental game.
Bet is 8,000.
Sean's got the King Queen suited of spades. 8.5K. It's gonna get folded around to Jimmy. Let's see if Jimmy wants to defend again. He's got ace-2 suited. He does. Sean, a little smirk. They know they're going at it yet again. Sean knows Jimmy isn't respecting his bets. Oh, what a terrible flop for Sean. Jimmy hits trip aces.
And that might be my king. No, I don't know.
Jimmy checks it over to Sean.
I have no clue what it was.
Sean continuation bets for 7K. 2 diamonds out on the board as well. This could get ugly.
right.
Oh, what the best card in the deck for Jimmy comes down. The 2 of diamonds. Although that's probably not going to give Sean... It doesn't improve Sean's hand.
That's 15,000.
Oh. Jimmy fires out a 15K bet and Sean calls. He's going to get the bad news. Jimmy hit the trip aces.
Oh, no.
What's that?
Right.
Okay, your
Concentration.
sensor's not reading?
You need to put your cards on the green dot. There you go.
Right. Well, I guess know somebody.
Alex folds the ace-2 off.
Weekend at Bernie's still here. It's the weekend.
See, we're having a little delay on the graphics. I must be doing something on the tablet. Trying to fix some things. Sometimes that stuff happens.
Okay, so option...
Andrew Ring.
My time is gone. I used to play quite a bit. Like, I was never punching. I was never doing the study and the.
It's like Andrew fires out a bet pre-flop. 6.5K. Sean calls on the big blind. Neither player hits anything. Andrew's ace high is still the best hand. He's got the ace of diamonds, 3 diamonds on the board as well.
I always do that. When they fold early like that, shows the ace of diamonds.
Check.
Yeah.
Let the diamond come first, and then we'll.
It's
Jimmy Buffett.
it's one of those things where I love
Oh,
to
crap.
not to, like everyone knows I'm joking, but when they do that, I go check. Oh, he mucked his hand. Oh, I win, right? You know, just.
Aw.
Oh, I wasn't checking. I just once he marked it.
Blinds are up next to
You know, I
hand.
didn't have 2 of them.
Talking about it when players go for grabbing chips,
I like that.
and then someone instantly folds their
All
hand.
in 31-5.
Situations change and though for me too.
It's like Ab decides now's the time with pocket eights. Sitting there running at 10 big blinds. He's got to get it in sooner or later. You play to win these tournaments.
Oh, come on, that's not even.
He gets folded around.
Why did I look at the same guy?
How much is it? We have a
31-5.
Alex was almost ready. He looked at one card, was ready to fold. Looked at the other one. It's pocket 2s. He calls. Bad time to get it in though. Ab has him absolutely crushed.
I should have dumped it. 31.
You looked at the first one and said, no.
Alex hoping for a coin flip.
That's not great. The deuce for the clip.
Needs a deuce. Does not get it. Ab doubles up. That moves Alex now down to the shortest stack at the table. He's got 3 big
Quick
blinds.
shot. I missed. What is this?
Wing and a...
Some of these players are going to be getting eliminated here. We'll be at a final table soon.
Woo.
See, the outer table has certainly been the table that's been eliminating players tonight.
Oh, that puts a weird spot in.
I've had 2 players had to move over from our featured table over there
In there. I'm all in.
just to even out the...
Oh, snap ball.
Alex shoves all into the small blind. Ab snap calls with the queen 10 suited. He has Alex crushed again, just not Alex's night. Alex is going to need a 9. Maybe a split. Oh no, he flopped the straight.
GG, my friend.
That's it for Alex. Alex gets eliminated from the tournament.
All right, good game, guys. Good luck.
Ab adds a little bit more chips to his stack. Sitting at 76.8K for Ab.
Oh, well, we're attacking.
Actions to Dave. He folds.
2-0 Florida. They scored within the first 4 minutes, both periods. Whoa, somebody leave that door open. That was a nice little breeze.
Looks like it's getting folded around to the blinds. Ab with his new chips, checking out Andrew's chips. He's going to limp in with 6-2 suited. Andrew hits a pair of 9s on the flop. Ab hits a flush draw. Of course, Andrew has the 7 of diamonds. Andrew also has a straight draw as well, but the bottom end of a straight draw. Oh, that 6 now actually makes it open-ended, so a 5 now would give Andrew the straight. Ab is still running to a diamond, 6, or a 2. Does not get it. You guys are wondering how long ago this game was. We're talking about the Stanley Cup Finals. Gives you an idea of how long it takes to get these games out. See, we had 2 new subscriptions to the channel today. We got Eric Hatchie subscribed to the channel 4 hours ago. Appreciate him joining. As well as Brady Ott. I think that's how you say your name. OTT. Brady OTT. That's what I'll call you. He just subscribed 3 minutes ago. So thank you guys so much for that. If you guys are new to the channel, feel free to subscribe. We'll try to get videos and shorts out. If you guys haven't checked out the shorts, those are very popular. Getting quite a few views from those shorts. Nice, quick, digestible content. Sean under 10 big blinds here. He's got a 39K stack. Shoves all in with Queen Jack suited. Action gets folded around to Andrew. We still don't know what he has. See a little graphic error here. Ab isn't the one all in. Andrew is. Andrew's got ace queen. He's got Sean crushed. Imagine we'll get these. Saying we have a 3-way all in here. We don't. We only have 2 players all in.
You're gonna get the jack on the river.
I don't think I'll be that.
We'll eventually get that fixed. Sean is going to need a jack. Doesn't have the club draws either. Sean ends up getting eliminated. We are so close to a final table.
I figured you'd do it eventually.
I already put in half my stack. If I'm gonna just call it,
What are we, 5 players?
because if I call it, might.
We may be down to a final table here soon. With 5 players at this table, there must be 6 over on the other. We merge at 10 players. There's 10 sensors on this this table. So we have a little delay in graphics as well as I take care of some tournament stuff. Can't do 2 things at once. There's, you see me in the background.
Yeah, we're fine.
Doing tournament director stuff. Fortunately, that's just what I got to do.
Did I make it to the
One person show.
Just one chip?
How many players do they got over there? It looks like they do have 6.
Oh, hence
2, 4, 6.
you called with the
Calvin's still over there.
that player comment. I gotcha.
It's like Kevin got eliminated, who also moved over there from our
A
table.
little personal.
So what do we got here? Ab makes it 7K with ace queen suited. It's folded around to Jimmy, who calls in the big blind with pocket 4s. There's Ab's ace. Jimmy checks it over to Ab. Ab fires out a continuation bet. 4K. Jimmy calls. Jimmy might think his 4s are good here. Those 7s give them both players a boat.
Oh, he knows it's bad. Don't worry.
Sounds like sour grapes.
Ab checks it behind. Jimmy checks. Ab's gonna go for some value here. Fires out 20K. Pretty big bet. There was 28K in the pot.
Hey Calvin, what's wrong with King Queen? Some people wait all night to get those.
Really gonna put Jimmy in a tough spot. Jimmy folds, making the correct laydown.
I had my ace queen, had him absolutely dominated.
Well, I mean,
Merci.
See, Ab is now the biggest stack at the table. 201K. He was the short stack for a while. Now he's managed to build up to the biggest stack. That's what happens with these blinds and antes. The blinds are 2,000, 4,000 with a 2K big blind ante.
No.
The antes get cut in half once we get down to six-handed tables. It's just to give the players more play, but also keep that big blind ante in there. I personally love antes. I like to go after those pots.
Bird for so long, is she like still in love with the bird?
Oh, sorry.
10,007 all in.
Yeah.
Denise shoves all in. She's got 10,000.
10,007.
It's only 10-7.
Ab's going to leave it to Andrew to eliminate Denise.
Who said that King Queen's a bad hand? I'm calling all in with it.
Good. At least I have an ace.
Denise is ahead here. Not by much, though. Still pretty much a coin flip, 55-45.
Of course King Queen's good. Oh,
Andrew
no,
needs a king or a queen.
Oh, I didn't do it.
Does not get it. Denise doubles up.
I stay alive for
I
two
mean,
more
half the call.
hands.
I'm in the big one for 4,000 and 10,000.
Yes.
King Queen's the best.
All the players are checking out the short stacks at the table, trying to see who's shoving all in. Looks like the outer table has just lost a player.
Who got you, Paul?
Yeah. I mean,
Calvin got eliminated.
yeah, they're 5.
He was the biggest stack moving over
Oh
there.
my god, I made one.
So proud of you.
We are now down to a final table after this hand.
Watch me on YouTube later.
Denise calls the 4K.
We playing? Did you fold?
I folded.
Where are we?
No, I folded, he folded, he folded.
Oh, sorry.
Fine.
Denise folded. I thought she called. Got a blind versus blind action. All of these players were eager to make a final table, and now they have made it. As if Dave or Andrew gets eliminated here. See, Andrew's chip stack is saying he's got 3.2K in chips. That's not actually the
reason I was
case.
laughing, I had king queen. And I was like, oh.
We'll get that
man,
figured
now
out
somebody
once we get to the
like,
final table. We're going to have to recount players' chip
I'll
stacks.
just fold it.
So this is it. We are now here for an all-out poker final table. The players have made it. We're going to move right into the action too. We had to let the tournament director do the redraw for seats. See some familiar faces at the final table. We see Dan and Jeremy. Paul, we've seen at these final tables. Ab, we've seen at the final tables.
8,000?
Not sure if we've seen Corey at a final table.
The re-raise
It's been a while since he's been to the game.
22, or 22, sorry. Sorry. Why did I say that?
Corey makes it 8K to go. Makes a min bet. Paul 3 bets to 22 in the hijack. It's going to get folded around to Corey. Just going to let it go. Get a good fold.
No, you felt bad for my little sad.
Imagine Paul wasn't getting really away from that. And we'll see that Paul is the biggest stack at the final table. He started with 210K. He's got 17% of the chips at the table. But we can't forget about our second biggest stack at the table, Dan. He's got 186K. He also has 15% of the chips on the table. And our shortest stack, Denise. We've seen her at the last table. She's got 6 big blinds. She is in rough shape. She's going to need some lady luck on her side. She's got 26K. Jeremy's got pocket 5s under the gun. Makes it 15K to go. Let's get folded around to Paul. He's got 10-8 suited. He folds. Ab's got pocket 5s as well, but he folds. Giving Jeremy some respect. Respecting the under the gun position. Richard's got pocket queens on the button. He just flat calls. Doesn't want to scare Jeremy away just yet. Jeremy's got about 75K behind. Richard is sitting at 134K. Jeremy, of course, we know that he's dead because Ab had the last 2 5s. He shoves all in. If Richard calls here, he's going to have the check mark because he does have the queen. Well, I guess Jeremy could hit running straights. That's also a possibility. So I guess he's not completely dead. I can't see how Richard can get away from this. Unless he's putting Jeremy specifically on a set or a massive draw. He calls, shows the pocket queens. Jeremy kind of laughs about it. He knows he's in bad shape. He thinks he has a 5. We know that 5 out is gone. There's the check mark for Richard. Jeremy is going to be the first elimination at the final table. Gets 10th place. That's unfortunate for Jeremy. Getting eliminated from this tournament. See, we have 20 people watching. If you guys are new here, say hello in the chat. I'd love to see who is here. Try to interact with the chat as much as possible. Actions. We don't know what Dan has here. We're getting a little bit of a delay from the tablet. Actions to Denise. Jack 9 suited. Short stack at the table. 26K is now the time to put it in. There's 10K in the middle. There's no better time than now. The position, the earlier position is just going to get earlier and earlier until you make it to the big blind. She folds. She folds the Jack 9 suited. Richard folds the 8-2 suited to diamonds. Andrew fires out a 9K bet on the button with pocket 7s. Looks like everybody folds. He wins the blinds.
Favorite hand suited. Well, 2 over. But my favorite hand suited and diamonds.
Well, you're in okay shape then.
Would have been a great spot for Denise to double up. Flipping a coin. Paul's got the pocket jacks for a second time at this final table. The big stack. Fires out 25K. Blinds are 2,000, 4,000. Denise re-raises for 26K. That's 1,000 more to Paul. Is he going to fold? That is the question. But look at that. Richard ends up waking up with King Queen suited right behind Denise. Denise has Ace Jack.
Tough decision, but he calls.
Andrew making light of the 1,000 call for Paul. Wow, 2 hearts come down on the board. Richard ends up hitting the flush draw with 2 overs. Paul fires out 25K as a continuation bet. Richard calls. Got ourselves a side pot brewing. Paul checks behind. Wow, Richard hits the queen on the river. Is Paul going to go after that side pot? He does. Throws out a 25K bet again. Richard calls. Richard's going to show the winner here with the pair of queens. Takes home a massive pot, 188K. Denise ends up getting eliminated in 9th place. Her ace jack does not hold up. What a massive pot for Richard. That moves Richard to the biggest stack at the table. He's got 359K. He's got over 30% of the chips on the table. That's not bad for 8 players. Looks like everybody's going to fold over to Dave on the button. He's got 9-8 suited. Dave's just going to flat call the 4K. Giving him big blind a free chance to see a flop. Corey has hit absolutely nothing. Continuation bet will probably take down this pot. Dave decides to go for it, which he does. Fires out 10,000. Corey folds. I think a raised pre-flop probably would have taken down that pot as well. As we know, of course, we can see the cards. A lot easier to figure out what the right decision is when you can see everyone's cards. Getting folded around. Players being relatively tight, although nobody has really anything. It's like Dan's got Ace-2 offsuit. Flat calls on the button. Corey calls in the small blind. Paul checks the big blind. He's got 8-7 off. Some of these players probably trying to get a gauge of how some of these players have changed up their play now that they're at the final table.
That is 9,000.
9K bet from Paul.
Fire now with quads. No buds.
Someone making a comment about Paul getting quads. He got quads on the outer table earlier in the night.
Richard said 359,000.
He certainly built up a stack from that.
Yeah. Andrew, 132. We should be fine. So I guess. Options for Richard.
Look at that, I got a message from Calvin. We seen him at this table, mentioning he forgot to order some merch. He's going to order some merch. If you guys are interested in some all-out poker merch, where all that money is helping go towards camera equipment, because cameras are very expensive. We're trying to upgrade some of the setups, and so yeah, that will help support the channel, help support me as well. If you guys are interested in that, you guys can check it out on Facebook. All the information is on the All Out Poker Facebook page for what the sweaters look like, as well as size charts as well. Hopefully we'll have a website set up here soon to have all that stuff ordered, but that'll be later down the road. Looks like we got an interesting pot brewing here. Andrew has a queen high flush draw. Dan just has ace high. Looks like he's going to float Andrew's bet. Andrew must be a little bit worried. But look at that. Dan ended up hitting his straight on the river. His gut shot. Andrew also hit a straight. Very ugly card for Andrew.
Bet 38.
Andrew firing out a value bet. About half the size. 38K bet. Trying to get some value from someone who has a king. Looks like Dan is going for a 3-bet. Raises to 80K. Andrew's trying to talk himself into a situation of what he has. Asked him if he has king 10. I think Andrew knows that he wouldn't be 3-betting here if he didn't have anything. Andrew thinks he has a good hand. He's obviously a little bit worried. First he was firing for value, but now he's got the information that he might actually be beat here. I don't think Andrew would be putting him on a straight, but hard to say. He's going to go through the hands that he could possibly have that has him beat. Andrew has him covered, though. It doesn't eliminate him from the tournament, but it will absolutely cripple him. And he makes the call. Dan shows the higher straight to the ace. Andrew's queen 9 is not good enough. That puts Andrew 4 big blinds. It's an absolutely rough shape. It's unfortunate for Andrew. Now he's under the gun. He's going to have to shove it in here, but what a perfect time to shove it in. He's got pocket 9s. He may be able to run it back up. We'll see. Let us know down in the chat if you think Andrew's going to be able to win this hand. Looks like Richard's going to call. It's actually a good spot for Andrew. Just needs a queen. Oh! Richard gets there on the river. He only had 2 outs showing up on the screen. One of the queens was grayed out. Andrew ends up getting eliminated. I mean, he got his money in good. Not much you can do there. What are we at now? We got what, 2, 4, 6, 7 players now at this table? Dave's got the Queen 10 offsuit.
15,000. So
Fires out another rolling bet of 15K. Lorraine says, go Andrew. Tony with the gritting teeth. Ooh, yeah, that's not a great card. Got to see some bad beats on this table. Although it wasn't too bad, but I mean, we know it was bad because there was a queen that was grayed out, hit a 2-outer. Dave hits up open-ended here. He's also got the queen of clubs. Paul with his pocket 2s completely missed.
25,000.
Although his 2s are kind of not really the best hand. It's like Dave's bet is going to win that pot. So we've got 7 players left at the table. Richard's still the biggest stack, 394K now. Lorraine says, ouch, rivered. Yeah, not a great river for Andrew.
That's 15,000.
Ooh, Dan's got pocket 3s. Makes it 15K. We just need one more player out. And that ante will be cut in half. We'll see if the ante's gone back up to 6K since they were a full table. Dave has hit a pair of 4s. Dan has hit a set of 3s, though. See if Dave's going to think he has the best hand. It is a pretty dry board.
That's 25,000.
Dan must be loving this bet. Nothing like having Dave fire into you. He's going to play it a little bit slow. Nothing really to be worried about there. There's the boat for Dan. Dave's grabbing more chips.
Oh, that's 40,000. Dan says all
Fires out a 40K bet.
50,000 total.
Dan shoves all in behind. Dave just knows he's beat now. Shakes his head. Knows he made a mistake there. That took quite a chunk from Dave. Look at our VPIPs here. Paul's played the most hands at the final table now. He's at 40%. Richard's sitting at 30%. They haven't played very many hands on this final table, so VPIP doesn't really matter too much.
Oh, yeah, it's candy powder that's on it. It's trying to get the cards to slide a little bit better. That's why we want cards dealing with the flop. They don't slide, so don't worry, they're not marked. It's just every single one of them is just they just
They feel good.
Getting folded around to Dave now in the small blind.
1,000.
Dave shoves all in. Dan quickly folds. Dave trying to get some of those chips back. He's got about 10 big blinds. Blinds are 3,000, 6,000 with 6,000 big blind ante. And as we can hear in the background, the blinds are going up next hand. The price of poker is going up, ladies and gentlemen.
That's 12,000.
Ab, first pot that he's getting involved with here at the final table, makes it 12K to go. Corey in the big blind looks down at ace-jack suited. Checking out the chip stack. Is he going to put the pressure back on Ab?
So we raised to 25,000.
Corey makes it 25K to go. Ab folds. Got ourselves a final table. Let us know down in the comments who do you think is going to win this tournament. Both Richard and Dan are the 2 highest stacks so far on this final table. But that can change. The blinds are now up to 4,000, 8,000 with an 8,000 big blind ante. Winning a couple of those pots can certainly change the tide of this tournament. for any of these players.
I feel like you just won't be friendly.
Corey folding the small blind to Paul says to him, I don't think you're going to be friendly here. Quickly moving to the next hand. Look at this. Dan has ace queen suited.
I think I should.
Raises to 17k, which is pretty much a min bet. Min bet is 16k. Alfie in the chat says, Dan's going to win. We will see. Gonna get folded around to Ab, who's on the big blind. 8-3 suited. He's gonna defend.
17. All right.
Ab hits nothing with the 8-3 suited. Dan hits top pair. Fires out a continuation bet. Ab just lets it go. Of course, it's the right play. Trying to pick up some pots. See, Ab is the shortest stack at the table. He's got 5 big blinds. Pretty much only has one move at this point. 43k. Jimmy's not far behind. He's got 62k. Looks like Dan is in the chat. Laughing, giving the crossing the fingers marks. He knows who won. He's not going to say anything. He's not going to ruin this. He's got some fans, though. Mayor in the chat says, so glad I found this channel. I love this. This is great. I'm glad you could be here, Mayor. I really appreciate that. Try to get out as much content as we can. I've been getting a little bit burnt out. So we're going to try to get back on the editing train and try to get some of the stuff out. Get some shorts and stuff from the from this episode, and as well as I have another episode that was we had a little bit of a problem with the camera work, so I'm not sure I'm going to be doing a live stream for that one. May just do a recap video.
My goal here is to make sure you have.
We had I had a little bit of a camera errors on the recording side, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. As said, this is a one-man setup, so it's hard for me to do the jobs of 3 or 4 people. But I'm glad you could be here, Mayor.
So 20? Yeah. 20,000 for that.
Dan making it 20k with the ace-5 off. He's going to go after those blinds and antes, punishing these short stacks. Jimmy says now's the time, puts the ace-7 off in there. He actually has the best hand. Can't see Dan getting away from this. He does not. He makes the call. This may be it. Jimmy shows the ace. Got ourselves an all-in situation. Needs a 7. Could be a split pot. Looks like it is a chop. Everybody loves a chop pot, except Jimmy. Jimmy needed a double up. He doesn't want that chop pot. He was hoping for something else other than a 10. As long as it wasn't a 5 to pair Dan.
That's 25,000.
Paul with the king 10 makes it 25k. Ab folds the ace 5. Richard's got ace jack suited of spades. Dave's got the queen 10. He folds. Ooh, 2 spades out on the board. Richard has been running quite good at this final table. He's got himself a flush draw now. And there's the nut flush for Richard, and also has the check mark. Paul still has king high, but he's got some straight draws. He just needs a jack. But Richard's already got the nut flush. Richard fires out, looks like a 30K bet. He's going to take down that pot. That was 100K in that pot. Adding to Richard's stack. Look at that. He's got 439K. Dan, second place, 385K. See, Dave is now the shortest stack at the table. Paul's got King Jack suited here, under the gun.
All in, so 105,000.
Paul shoves all in. Ab shoves all in right behind him with the queen, the ace queen suited. It's got Paul crushed in the suits. Although he still has live cards. Got ourselves the all-in situation. Ab couldn't have picked a better time. And sometimes you just got to get it in here. Hope for the best. Ab's got a 59%. Ooh, there's the king. He's running diamonds or an ace and does not get it. There's the queen, but it's not good enough to beat Paul's kings. Ab ends up getting eliminated in 7th place. We are now down to 6-handed. That means that the blinds and antes, well, I guess the antes are cut in half. We cut the antes in half here at six-handed. So blinds are now 4 and 8,000 with a 4,000 big blind ante.
52,000 all in.
Jimmy says now's the time he's going to shove all in. I believe we're paying top 4 for this tournament. Lorraine says, I'm rooting for Ab. Fortunately, he just got eliminated. Jimmy shoving all in again. Ace-9. He's looking for that double up. Dave's got pocket 8s. He shoves all in. 2 short stacks going at it.
72,000 all in.
Elfie says, R.I.P. Ab. Doof says, Lorraine, way to jinx it. Yep, poor Ab. Had him dominated in suits, but sometimes when you just have live cards, you got live cards. Just the way poker is. But we got ourselves an all-in situation here. Richard had the pocket 3s. He folds. Got ourselves a coin flip. Somewhat of a coin flip. I guess Dave's like says 64%. Jimmy's got the 2 overs. There's the 9. Richard would have hit his set of 3s. Dave needed an 8. Does not get it, though. Dave ends up getting eliminated in 6th place. These short stacks are just getting crushed here. This final table. We are now on the money bubble as well.
Yeah, you can go right over.
This is for the money bubble.
Oh, it's 8 and 4.
Gets folded around to Richard in the small blind. Just limps in. Jimmy. Queen 7 off. He checks.
Check is good.
And a little delay in graphics. I don't think any player has anything. Queen high is still good here. Queen high is going to take it. Jimmy's not going to complain. Picking up that pot. Needs the chips.
Old-fashioned tournament game.
Corey's got ace-4 suited. He folds. Doof says, come on, Dan, but put the wheelchair symbol. I don't even know what that means.
That is 20,000.
I wouldn't say he's crippled in chips, so I don't really know what that means at all. Paul, looks like he makes it 24K. Pocket 3s. Jimmy's going to come along with that ace-10 offsuit. Dan's getting a lot of support in the chat. The chat wants to see Dan win this tournament.
2 or 3 clubs.
Goes check on that flop. Paul's really searching for a 3. Does still have the best hand, though. There he hits it on the river. Although that puts 4 clubs down on the board, it's a little bit scary. Not the 3 he wanted, but it is still going to give him the check mark. Throws out a small bet of 25K. Jimmy folds. Alfie says, Dan is the people's champ. We've seen him win some tournaments on the channel as well. There are previous tournaments of Dan winning. I think he's won 2 so far, maybe? Can't remember. Have to go back and look. So he could be a favorite to win. I don't think we've seen any of these players at the final table win other than Dan. So he does have final table appearance and final table experience.
40,000.
Looks like Paul's going to make it 40K. He's really going after those blinds and antes with the ace-9, hoping everybody folds. Really bullying this table. Slowly adding to his chip stack. I'd like to see what place he's in now after that win from Ab. Paul's in 3rd place. He's got 216K. Corey, the shortest stack at the table, 86K. Jimmy's managed to move himself up. Blinds are now 5,000, 10,000 with a 5,000 big blind ante. Doof says, what can I say? Dan's the bomb. Richard making it 30K. A 3x bet. King Jack off. Seen somebody folded pocket 4s there. I think it might have been Jimmy. Dan's going to call with that Queen 10 off. The 2 big stacks at the table going at it. Neither player hits anything. Dan's got position, though, on the button. Going to play it slow, but he hits his queen on the turn. It's a great card for Dan. Fires out a 20K bet. Puts 100K in the middle. Of course, Richard's going to fold. With that, the people's champ adding to his chip stack.
We have 5 and 25,000 for bet.
Dan going after those blinds and antes makes it 25K. On the cutoff, action gets folded over to the big stack. Richard, 6-5 suited. They're going to go at it again. Wouldn't it be something if one of them eliminated each other? That would be crazy. What a chip stack that would be at this final table. See, Jeff's in the chat. Another Dan bomb.
6-4. Right? I'm not going to call that, but I see the flop.
It's like Dan's continuation bet's going to take down that pot. Dan sees he's got the biggest stack at the table now, 450K. Forced to be reckoned with.
Okay.
Corey's got 7 big blinds, or almost 8 big blinds. He's got 77K behind. He's got king, queen offsuit. Decides to put it in. Paul folds, as does Dan. Is Jimmy going to want to eliminate this short stack? Jimmy's got 6-2 suited. He lets it go. Corey's going to pick up those blinds. Doof says Dan shipping them like the international ports of Shanghai. Oh my God. Your guys' comments crack me up. That's pretty good. See, this is why I love interacting with the chat. You guys are hilarious. Makes my job easier as a commentator as well. Makes these hands where people just bet pre-flop and everybody folds a little more entertaining. Actions to Paul. He's got pocket kings under the gun. He's got 196K behind. Still a relatively big stack. I think he was 3rd in chips last time we checked. Makes it 25K. Richard with the king queen off. He calls. Absolutely crushed by Paul. It's maybe a great spot for Paul to double up. Double up off one of the big stacks. 70K in the middle. Oh, look at that. Richard ends up hitting his top pair of queens, but Paul's pocket kings are the best hand right now. Richard is only running to 2 outs. He's got 2 queens left in the deck. Really only a flush draw for Paul to worry about, but I mean, he's got the king of clubs behind as well. Fires out a relatively big size bet.
I call.
70K.
Kings.
We got an... Oh my god. Richard ended up shoving all in behind. I didn't even see what Paul's bet was. An all in and a snap call. Richard's in rough shape. Oh! There's the queen on the turn. Oh! What an absolute rough beat for Paul. That queen of clubs gave him a flush draw, but only 2 queens left in the deck to actually give Richard the best hand. Wow, that is our money bubble burst.
Oh, right, I'm not even big.
Paul gets eliminated. He gets his money in really good. Whew.
Well, I would have been.
What an absolute disaster for Paul.
Paul was big. It's a while ago.
No worse of a beat than that.
25.
Wow. Now the players are sitting a little bit pretty, especially the short stacks. They've made it in the money now that that bubble has burst. Richard is now pretty big stack. Says he has 536K behind in this hand. Look at that, and his luck is continuing. He hits a king on the flop, top pair. He also has backdoor clubs draws. Fires out a 20K bet. Jimmy's hit mid pair. Or sorry, a 30K bet. Jimmy's going to make the correct laydown. Doofus. Richard, like a fish, out of the water. Says he takes it back. Don't listen to me. Said spoke too soon. Richard ended up getting the lady luck on his side, hitting that queen of clubs on the turn. Wow, what a gross card to see for Paul. So gross. Just shows the ruthless side of poker. I'm interested to see what Richard has for a chip cap count now. 586K. Dan's sitting at 430K. Both Jimmy and Corey are sitting around the 10 big blind mark. They need to start picking up some pots. And look at that. Corey has king 9 suited. This may be the chance for Corey to get it in. But he's facing 2 big stacks. He decides to put it in, though. Sometimes you just got to hope for the best. 7 big blinds. We'll see if Dan's going to make the call. He does not. Look at that. Corey ends up picking up those chips. I certainly wouldn't be complaining in that spot. Picking up a good solid 20K. He only had 77K behind. Dan's got H-King off. In the small blind. Looks like he makes it 25K. Corey folds. I might have limped in there in that small blind spot, hoping that Corey just shoves. Or you have such a strong hand. But a bet isn't bad there either, right? Blinds are high. You don't want any really chance to kind of let him catch up. You know, you may have a premium hand, but it's still not a fantastic hand. You know, it's good going to a flop, but if you miss, it's just to pretty much throw the hand away.
30.
Oh, Dan and Richard getting involved in another pot. The 2 big stacks going at it again. Whew. Dan has a pair of 7s with an open-ended draw. Richard has a gut shot draw with the 10, but he also has 2 overs. Still pretty live. Oh, there's the pair of 10s. It gives Richard the best hand. Also not a card Dan wants to really see. A 9 gives anybody a straight there. Fires out a bet. Richard calls. Goes check, check on the river. Dan's going to see the unfortunate news. Richard adding to that chip stack. Quite an overwhelming amount of chips on the table. 4 players left. He's got 57% of the chips. He's got 686K. Next biggest stack, 335K now for Dan. Ace 5 suited. Great hand four-handed. Just limps in with the 10K.
Call from there.
See if Corey's going to shove behind. He does not. Richard's going to call. King 8 suited. Jimmy checks the big blind. He gets to see a free flop. With that, both Richard and Dan both had a diamond draw. Wouldn't a diamond be something to see on this river? Both players are playing it quite slow. Jimmy doesn't even care. He's playing the board. Although Dan's ace high is going to take it.
I'm gonna count how many hands they did, and then I'm gonna figure out how many I did. Just as a test, right? I want to see if it's actually making much of a difference for me to kind of complain about it, basically.
Dan's just going to win the blinds and antes there. Oh, now's the time. Jimmy shoves all in. He's got pocket aces. Or pocket ones, as I like to call them. Corey, the next smallest stack at the table, or the shortest stack at the table, is Queen 10 suited. I mean, you know, we know Jimmy has pocket aces here, but, you know, he's only got 6 big blinds. He's already got money in the middle. Like, you know, do you put it in here? He's in the big blind. Elfie says, count it up. Here we go. Corey puts it in.
Brutal. Look at the first card.
Oh, look at that. And there's the ace. Oh, and Corey hits 2 pair. Win to queen or 10. You know, that's still, you know, Corey's dead at this point. Corey ends up getting 4th place. I forget how much he won. I think it was $120. Or maybe 150. Let me see if I can find out what the chip stacks were for this tournament. Yeah, I threw it out, unfortunately. I don't remember. But usually it was probably around 120 to 150 bucks for 4th place. Usually they get their money back or a little bit. Looks like I missed some action here. What is going on? Richard and Dan all in.
You have 330. That's not including.
Wow, the second biggest stack at the table and the biggest stack at the table are all in here. Dan folds. He folds the ace queen. What a fold from Dan. He's going for that money jump to 2nd place. Props to Richard for really putting Dan to the test. Deuce says, don't mess with Jim Dog pre-flop. Wow, what a fold from Dan. Ace queen suited. So Dan's going to call on the button with the 12K. Jimmy shoves all in with the pocket 5s. I mean, Dan's got to suspect that Jimmy would be still in all-in or shove mode here. I mean, he's got 15 big blinds. I mean, it's something you have to be worried about, but... Alfie says a jinx.
Well, I opened up the window thinking it would probably make it, you know, a little bit
Well,
cooler
when
down
the
here.
garage door opened up, we felt the breeze.
It's like Dan's going to fold. Jimmy's going to pick up that pot. Jimmy slowly getting his chips. He's 15 big blinds. Dan's sitting around, what, 30 big blinds? I guess he got 300K. Richard A6 off on the button. He folds. Surprised I was expecting him to kind of get involved there. I guess he's just going to leave it to the blinds to fight over it. Got a limp and a check behind.
Like 30,000.
Jimmy making it 30K. Bottom pair. Take a look at our aggression frequency. Dan, 35%, the most aggressive at the table. Although Jimmy and Richard are not far behind, only by a couple percent. Look at that. Jimmy's got pocket nines on the button. He shoves all in, putting max pressure onto these players. Both of them fold. Dan's got 8-5 suited. He folds on the button. Richard's got ace-queen off. Makes it 40K to go. Jimmy calls. Got jack-9 suited. Nice little suited hand. Although that flop completely misses both players. See if Richard's stack size is really going to push Jimmy out of this pot. That's a tough bet for Jimmy to do anything with. Makes it 50K. He folds. Let me know who you think's going to win this tournament. I mean, Richard's got the overwhelming chip stack. 61% of the chips on the table. He is certainly a favorite to win. Let us know down in the chat. I imagine Dan is the favorite to win this tournament. If you think he's going to come back. Give shout outs to Jimmy out there. Both players just playing it passively here. Checking it all the way down to the river. Dan hits a pair of fives on the river. Jimmy's got king 10 off. He folds. Folds on the button. Dan's got pocket sevens. Dan makes it 25 to go. Richard calls with ace queen. Wow, we got a hell of a pot brewing between these two big stacks again. Imagine if Jimmy was into that pot. Imagine things would have got ugly pre-flop. It's a great flop for Dan. Pretty rainbow board. Only an overcard and 8. Do you think Richard's really calling with an 8 here? Or maybe an overpair? Dan fires out a 30K bet. Richard calls. Oh, Richard hits that queen on the turn. Wow, that gives Richard now the best hand. Puts Dan in a really awkward spot. He's only running to 2 outs. Richard firing out a 50K value bet. Dan's not going anywhere. Doesn't believe him. Dan misses his 7. Richard checks behind a little bit worried, I think. I'm surprised he wouldn't value bet there. Richard, wow. Gets lucky. Hits that queen on the turn. See what you guys are saying in the chat here. Elfie says, I'm all in on Dan. Doof says, Dan is that man, though. He shows a gorilla. Ken, I don't know what that means. Lorraine says, I'm afraid to pick anyone. I'm the jinx caller. That's right. The chat has been calling Lorraine the jinx. See what's happening here. Dan's got pocket 9s in the small blind. Makes it 40K. Looks like Richard's got ace queen again. And another pretty much the same flop as before. Pretty much the same situation Dan was in, although he has an overpair to the 8s now. Dan just says, I'm not fooling around. Shoves all in, 167K behind. He's telling Richard, you want to play again with that ace queen, you're gonna have to pay for it. You want to see any more cards? It's like Richard's giving it some thought though. He's gonna let it go. Dan picking up that pot. It's at 253K. Jimmy's actually not too far behind Dan. He's got 166K, 13 big blinds. Richard still with the overwhelming amount of chips. 65% of the chips on the table. Got ourselves an all-in and a call. Jimmy's got the pocket sixes. Richard wakes up with the pocket eights. Jimmy is in rough shape. Jimmy's going to need a 6. Or maybe a split pot. Although the 8 down on the board, no. Unfortunately, Richard eliminates Jimmy. Jimmy ends up taking a 3rd place finish. I think he got around $300. Unfortunately, I can't have prize payouts on my on the system. Yep, Jimmy got $300 for 3rd place. But we are now heads up. Dan versus Richard. So far, they played 103 hands on this in this session that we filmed. That's a lot of hands. It's a lot of hands to edit. Elfie says, boom shakalaka. See if Dan can make a comeback at this heads up. Richard's pretty much got a 4-1 chip lead over him. Dan hits a pair of 8s here. He's going to take down that pot. Slowly, Dan's building some chips. All he needs is really a double up to make this really anybody's heads up match. I love watching heads up. It's something that people don't really focus on. Most home games just split it at the end. You know, here I love seeing them playing out the heads up match. Looks like Richard's going to fire out a bet here with his pair of 7s. Going to pick up the pot. Dan on the button, 5-3, lets it go. Jack 2 suited for Richard.
7.
Ooh, now Richard has 7-6 suited. He's got position. Gonna fire at a bet. Makes it 40K to go. Dan, King 9 off. Still a pretty good hand, heads up. He calls. Ooh, there's Dan's king. Dan hits 2 kings on the flop. Richard ends up hitting a pair of 6s. Dan's going to check it over. It's like Richard's going to fire out 50K. He calls. Dan's going to slow play it a little bit. Look at that, quads! Dan ends up hitting quad kings. He checks. Richard shoves all in. Dan quickly calls. He's going to show the nuts. What a hand for Dan. Doubles up on quads on this heads-up match. Crazy. Dan picking up a 452K pot. Elfie says, bang! Look at that. Richard is now the biggest stack at the table. He's got 748K. Looks like the chat may be right. Dan may be able to pull off a win here. He's got the advantage. He's got the chip lead. Actually, maybe I was looking at that wrong. Yeah, for some reason it's still saying Richard has his chip stack. I guess I was wrong. I was mistaken. Although Dan is now back into this match. He's got pocket 8s. So he fired out a bet pre-flop. Can't remember what it was. Richard ends up calling with the 6-5 suited. So Dan plays it a little bit slow, a little bit cautiously with those 2 overs out on the board, but he's going to take down the pot with the pocket 8s with the best hand. Sorry, I was looking at Richard. I'm getting confused with Richard and Dan. Richard's sitting at 690K. Dan's sitting at 510K. This is anybody's heads-up match now. This is what we like to see. A nice, close match. Blinds are 8,000, 16,000 with an 8,000 big blind ante. Everyone's freaking out in the chat. Tony says sick. Alfie says that's my wonder boy. Tony says, Dan, keep getting quads and it's an easy win. Got to get paid on those quads though. Dan's got a nice hand here. King 5 suited. That's a fun hand, heads up.
Saying that your action's first, so I'm assuming that.
I call it 16.
So it makes it 16, or flat calls to 16. Richard checks behind.
5,000 for that.
Richard firing out his top pair, or two pairs, sorry. Another boring hand, just
I'll know when the
open
stacks
fold.
are off,
That's what I
so-
put 16, but I got it back. Not a big game changer.
Dan's gonna let go of the button. Folding the 5-4 off. Quickly move it to the next hand. That's how we do it here. We don't waste any time. I could cut out the dead hands, you know, where there's a raise and fold, but
You hit a 4, you're
you know, I feel like this really gives you an insight. We don't skip hands, so it really gives you an insight of how players are playing, and it does give you more info on maybe what the players are thinking when they're actually facing that player, considering you guys have seen every hand that they've folded and played. So it's like Dan's got pocket tens here in position. Fires out at 25K bet. Richard folds. Richard's going to fold the button. 9-6 off. Dan wins that pot.
So us being in a later stage of the tournament.
Doof says, Dan the man.
Check.
Got ourselves a limped pot. Dan has a gut shot. Richard hit a pair of jacks. All players are checking it. Richard hits 2 pair on the river. Imagine he's no longer going to check this. He's going to go for some value. Fires out 50K. Dan folds. Curious to know where these chip stacks are now. See if Richard, 738K. Dan,
Yep.
462K.
I love heads up, so it's like,
Oh, me too.
like I love.
Richard's almost got a 2-1 chip lead. Almost. Richard making it 55K to go. Ace 9 for Dan. Calls. Dan checks it over to Richard. Richard's hit top pair. Now Dan has an ace of clubs here. It wouldn't be a bad spot to float, but Richard is making it quite pricey to go. You know, really pricing Dan out of really wanting to float at all. And it's working out for him. You see he's sitting there now at 801K. He now officially has a 2-1 chip lead over Dan. Dan's got the 8-5 suited. Alfie says the way Dan calls is so swag. Both players playing a little bit slow. Heads up is always a different element. So it's once you get to heads up, players will tend to play. Sometimes they play differently, right? You're playing more hands, or you're supposed to play more hands. So it's like really just trying to get a gauge of how your player is playing, since it is like pretty much as Daniel Negreanu says, pretty much a good old Rocky boxing match for heads up. Remember, if you guys are interested, we do have some swag coming in here. You see, I'm wearing the All Out Poker hat, as well as an All Out Poker t-shirt. If you guys are interested in seeing that, head on over to the Facebook page. Just type in the search bar, All Out Poker. You should find it. All the info for how to get in on those pre-orders is all there. If you guys are interested in that, with size charts as well. Won't leave that out. Dan hits a pair of fives. He says queen high. Well, Dan has a pair of fives. I don't even notice. I think I split that pot actually, and it wasn't supposed to be split, so now the chip stacks are off. Dan didn't even notice he had a pair of fives. The dealers, it's late. He didn't know he had a pair of fives. Unless it's a card reader error. That's also a possibility. Looking back at it, nope. Nope, he had a five. Doof says, are there any shirts of Dan's face? I don't know. Dan, keeps doing well at these final tables and becomes quite the sensation. Maybe some merch of Dan's face can come in here. I can assure you it would be something absolutely ridiculous, though. Dan flat calls with the 4-3 suited of clubs in position. Richard checks behind. Richard hits a pair of fives. Dan hits bottom pair. May end up seeing some fireworks fly here. Dan firing out 45K. That almost looked like a string bet. I don't know if he announced it, but... both Richard and Dan a little bit worried about that 10. Both of them don't have like a super premium hand on this flop. Dan mistaking his hand. Said he had a pair of fives. He only had a pair of threes. Richard had the pair of fives. Alfie says, my wallet's ready for those shirts. Doof says, if it comes, I know where that third stimmy check is going. Yeah, we'll be putting in those pre-orders very, very soon. Maybe sometime next week. So if you guys haven't got in on those, make sure to reach out to alloutpoker1@gmail.com. Said all that info is on the Facebook. You can reach out to me on any of the social medias if you guys are looking for that, and we'll get you set up.
Play with them, but I don't have the money behind. I'm always be playing.
40 total.
Remember, if you guys have been in this chat and you have not hit the like button yet, do me a favor and a solid and just hit that like button. It does help push this video and stuff out to the audience more. It helped me out on YouTube. It would be much appreciated. So guys, thank you again for those who have done it. And if you haven't yet, thank you for being here either way. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. It's like Dan making it 40K. Queen 3 offsuit in position here on the dealer. Looks like Richard's going to call. Jack 7 off. Richard checks. Dan fires out a continuation bet of 40. Going to pick up that pot. Adding to the chip stack. See Richard, 756K. Dan sitting at 44. 444K, that is.
I don't even know, I just know how.
Oh, okay.
And no, I wouldn't play.
Richard with the King 3 offsuit. I imagine, blinds are going up. They're 10,000, 20,000 with a 10,000 big blind ante. This tournament is going to come to a close very soon.
He seems like he's nice enough to never see him in a high.
Dan hits bottom pair. Looks like Dan's going to pick up that pot. That's 2 in a row.
Sternly requested that he not. Yeah, but it's like it just bothers everybody. It bothers everybody at the table. So.
And Dan 9-4 off. He's just gonna lay it down. Quickly move on to the next hand. Richard 9-3 folds. These blinds are getting big. 10,000, 20,000, 10,000 big blind ante. Both players are look like they just wanna. They haven't gotten premium cards, so you can't really blame them here. I mean, look, Dan's playing the 3-2. Richard playing the 10-7 off. Imagine both these players will eventually get a premium. Dan going to take a stab at it. Really putting the aggression to win those blinds and antes. He knows they're high. Every little bit counts. You can see now that Dan's pretty much back up to 500K in chips. See if Richard's just going to keep bleeding away here. No, he's grabbing a handful. Richard firing out a bet. Dan folds. 736K for Richard. 464K for Dan.
Just on the table before you see any
10K, 20K, 10K, big line ante. Oh, Dan now has pocket fours on the button.
60.
Elfie says Dan takes him to Blufftown. Dan's making it 60K to go. Oh my goodness, Richard, pocket queens. This could be it. Shoves all in on Dan. Is Dan going to be able to get away from the pocket fours? Richard has him absolutely dominated. He calls. Dan calls. We have an all-in situation.
That's what it's gonna come down to.
Richard's pocket queens versus Dan's pocket fours. Dan is going to need a 4. He's going to need maybe some straight draws. He doesn't get it. Is he going to get a 4? He does not. Dan gets eliminated in second place. Richard is the winner of this tournament. A first-time win from Richard.
600. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Looks like Dan is taking home $600 for second place. We'll see what Richard is. I believe Richard took home $860 for his first place finish. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of you guys being here. If you guys are new here, please like and subscribe. And I hope to see you guys all in the next video. I'm your host and commentator, Dave Frazier. Good night.